I'm probably going to regret this. Hi, hello, my name is Charlotte E. Craig. I am a fantasy writer and an aspiring author, sharing tips, advice, and inspiration to help you on your writing journey, while also documenting my own journey of writing my books and hopefully one day making it through the query trenches and submission and getting published and all that fun stuff. I have never done a writing challenge on this channel before. Back in November, I was participating in National Novel Writing Month, and I wrote a zero draft of the project I'm going to be working on in this video, which is called Project Casino. It's still in the very early stages, but it's essentially an adult portal fantasy, high stakes competition novel. I'm probably not going to be sharing too much about what the book is about, but if you would like at least some insight and a bit of an inside look on my writing process for this novel, definitely check out my video, which will be linked somewhere on the screen here. I wrote a zero draft of that book back in November. It was just 15,000 words. Since then, I've had the itch to do some kind of writing challenge or some kind of writing experiment on this channel. I love watching like the I Tried Writing Like videos. I've enjoyed seeing people attempt to write for 24 hours straight, which like I've considered doing, but quite honestly, I am the very worst version of myself if I do not get enough sleep. I basically turn from Smeagol to Gollum very quickly. And so I don't want to put my husband through that, really. I don't want to put myself through that. So I was trying to figure out what writing challenge I would want to try as like my first on this channel. And I came across tons of people like Kate Kavanaugh, I believe Cody the writer, and Natalie Jane Shields also have done this in the past. It's 5K Fridays. It's basically a challenge where writers attempt to write 5,000 words in a single day. And since I'm currently unemployed and writing and just like YouTube and social media is now low-key my full-time job, or at least I'm treating it as such until I potentially get a part-time job. So I don't really know what's going on. My life is a mess right now, actually. And so since that is the case, I should be able to achieve this. Right? Personally, I think I could do it. I think I could potentially write 5,000 words in a day. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm very confident, but also slightly nervous. We are here, it's Thursday, it's the day before the challenge. So let's take a second and talk about some of the things that I am going to do to prepare for this challenge. There isn't a lot of preparation that I'm going to be doing for this challenge because I did kind of decide like yesterday that this is what I was gonna be filming this week. So in a lot of the videos I've seen of other author tubers and writers doing this challenge, a lot of them have, you know, meal prepped and they've planned out what they're gonna write. Like they've basically made it impossible for them to fail. I am not going to do those things, mainly because I kind of already prepared, you know, meals and stocked up our fridge for the week. So this ended up just being perfect timing because I don't really have to worry about all of that. The other thing I'm going to do to prepare is I'm actually going to write tonight. And I know that sounds odd because it's like, hey Charlotte, why would you force yourself to write at all today if you're literally trying to write 5,000 words tomorrow? It's simple, really. At this point, I feel like I've actually learned a lot about myself as a writer. And one of the things I've noticed is that my afternoon and evening writing sessions always go so much more smoothly if I already wrote in the morning. So typically in my writing routine, I like to write in the mornings, but I've been finding since I'm not working, I have obviously a lot more time to focus on my manuscript, and I've been weaving in some afternoon writing sessions, whether it's joining live streams or just doing sessions myself. And those second sessions always go so much smoother if I've already, you know, set my eyes on the manuscript and I've already started writing and started thinking about what I'm going to work on. So tonight, Evelyn Wrights, who is another author tuber on here, she is hosting a live stream and I am planning on joining this evening just so that I can have a designated writing session for today, first of all, because I've not done that yet, and also to get myself back into the project and kind of just like warm up for the challenge. I think that's going to be a really good thing for me and will help me succeed in hopefully writing 5,000 words in a day. For some context, my current word count goal per day is around like 520 words. That is the word count that Scrivener has created for me based on the word count goal I have for Project Casino and the scheduled December 31st deadline that I have for myself for completing this project. So far, I've been able to meet the 520 words, and most times I am exceeding that. I'm getting maybe to like 700 or 800, and then on really, really good days when I'm able to have 2 sessions, I can hit 1500 to 2000. I have a feeling I'm gonna be able to do it. It just is gonna take a lot more willpower from me to not give up and to really push through when like I really just want to stop writing. Because that's something I've noticed about myself as well. Like, I think it's really good for me to have a writing session and leave myself still kind of unsatisfied and like wanting more, so that when I return to the page later, I have something to warm up with when I start working. However, I have been finding that there are times when I just could continue writing and I could get more words in, but I really stop myself because I'm feeling a little bit out of it, or I'm just like tired, I don't really want to do it. Like, I come up with a bunch of excuses aside from like that very real reason, which is like wanting to preserve my creative energy and my mental capacity for this book. So I think that this challenge is going to be really good for me because it's going to help me manage that and just kind of push my limits a little bit more as a writer. As for where I'm at with Project Casino, I gave you some insight into the fact that I was starting to write the first draft and that I kind of have been working on that for the last like month and a half. I spent a few weeks just really honing an outline. Actually came up with 3 different outlines for the story. And as I'm writing the first draft, I'm currently following like version 3 outline, which is like literally what it's titled in my document. It seems to be going really well, but my goal is that as I'm writing the first draft, I'm going to keep refining that outline and tightening it up. And I'm very happy to announce that late last week, I actually finished Act 1 of the book. It is hardly perfect. The actual voice of the story is not what I expected or really wanted the novel to come out as, but I am forcing myself to not go back and rewrite anything and just push forward, because this is the part of the novel when I get into Act 2 where I do kind of struggle with pushing past my perfectionism and just finishing the dang draft. But this book is different because the book is so premise forward. Like, it has a very strong purpose for like that middle act. I'm actually very excited to write it because, as I said, it is a high stakes competition novel. And I feel like books like that really write themselves when it comes to the fun and games, when it comes to the midpoint and things like that. And so I'm really excited to get into Act 2, especially because this is now the point where we are entering a lot of the magic of the story. And like what the fun and games is, it's the premises actually coming to fruition at this part of the novel. And I'm so excited. I'm already really happy with where Act 2 is going. I currently just finished the break into 2, and now I'm kind of starting the fun and games. So I'm very excited. I feel very motivated to write this book, and I hope that continues to tomorrow because I really want to hit the 5K in a day. I just think I would feel so proud of myself if I achieved this challenge. I'm gonna get to some of the other work that I need to do today so that I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. I'm excited for you guys to come along with me, and yeah, let's crush this freaking challenge. It is 6:30 in the morning. Ideally, this is the time I enjoy getting up at because I just feel way more on top of my day and I can get a lot more writing in when I do that. Also, I'm very tired, my eyes hurt, and if I don't wear these blue light glasses, I feel like they're gonna fall out of my face. So, as you can tell, I am not particularly in the mood for chatting first thing in the morning. I need loading time before I am fooling myself. We are going to load. And by load, I mean we're gonna do our first sprint of the day, because if I don't start this challenge now, I am not gonna hit 5,000 words by the end of this evening. So yeah, I'm gonna put my writing playlist on and just lock in. I think I'm gonna do like 40 minutes and then we'll see. It probably will be time for coffee at that point. It's fine. I'm gonna do this. Let me just get to writing. So I just finished the first sprint just in time for the sun to be fully up. It's been like about maybe like 40 to 45 minutes, but I managed to get 664 words within that 45 minutes, which is pretty good for me. The best I can do is just continue to do what I'm doing, which is like pushing through to write the words, even if I don't feel like they're the right ones and it's not. I don't know. I'm just like really adamant right now on just getting this draft done and reminding myself that I can rewrite everything later, but I just want to get the story down and then worry about if it sounds good later. Because that's the advice that everyone gives, that's the advice that I give, and I need to just follow my own advice. I'm definitely getting into like the nitty-gritty of the story now and the scenes that I've been like really excited to write, which is odd for me because normally I'm like not very interested in the second act. Like, I don't know, it's the hardest one for me to write. I'm gonna get up now from this desk and take a quick break to go get coffee and maybe go outside. I like to go outside first thing in the morning. It makes me feel better about my life and about myself. Yeah, so I'm gonna go do that and then we'll sit down for definitely a lot more sprints. I'll take that. It smells kind of like onions. Ooh, that's pretty.
At this point, the honors are mythical.
Okay, we did significantly better this round. I just did the calculations because I'm reminded that I need to write down every like word count that I get per session if I'm gonna accurately do this. But that session I got 1,136 words. Like, what? Who is she?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
I think it's because I'm seeing things in this scene very clearly and I'm really just dumping everything I see onto the page. Guys, you don't understand how hard it is for me to not be extremely picky about what I'm writing. I'm really challenging myself in regards to just setting aside my perfectionism, which I've talked a lot about on this channel because, as I've said before, I am a self-diagnosed chronic perfectionist, and if things aren't perfect, I have a problem. Specifically when they're things that I do. Other people can be imperfect. Apparently, I can't. So we're working on that, and actually writing is a great landscape to really just get over yourself. Like, it is the perfect place to really practice letting go of the need to be perfect, and that's really what I'm doing here. Like, I'm letting myself write an extremely imperfect scene and just like not the best. Like, it's not the best. There's some things in here that are good, a lot of it is not great, and I'm learning to just accept that and just let it be and remember that there's always a second draft. I just feel like writing teaches you a lot about life, and that might be something I talk more about. I'm also learning and growing as a person and a writer, and one of the ways I'm doing that is that this challenge is really forcing me to not be a perfectionist and to just write the crappy first draft. One of the characters in this story is very dramatic. He's very like showman vibes. And so I wanted him to have this like grand dramatic entrance as his introduction to the page. Like from this point on, we've only heard about him in passing, but I really wanted his actual entrance into the story to just be this like show, like an actual like performance. And I don't know how well that translates into like a novel, because when I'm writing, like I'm really seeing a film. Like I'm really writing as if I'm watching a movie, and like that's how scenes come to me and how stories come to me. And I know in a screenplay this would be fantastic, but in a novel I don't know how well it works. Like I tried to write, you know, there's like music in the background, and you know, he's kind of like singing along to the music and timing things with that. Like I just like don't know that I've actually read. I don't think I've read that before. Maybe I just need to like reread one of the comp titles for this book again, which is The Night Circus, because I feel like that kind of, for my memory, what it serves me, like could kind of give me some ideas on how to do this right, where it doesn't like feel cheesy. Something I'm learning as I'm writing this is that I need to take more time to describe things I see in my real life, because I have like images and pictures that I'm using as like reference points for how different rooms look and how like different characters look and what they're wearing and things like that. Every so often I just like stare at the photo and I'm like, I don't have words to describe what this is. And I just know that if I took time out of my day to just like slow down and, you know, when I'm journaling, just like take a second to like write out what I saw, that might help me learn. That and reading, I don't know, I'm learning a lot, I feel like, today. But I'm gonna take another quick break, get up, stretch my legs. I'm gonna probably make breakfast as I finish drinking my coffee. We're definitely gonna have more coffee today because writing is exhausting, actually. Before I go get breakfast, I did want to mention, as of right now, second session of the day, we are at 1,821 words. And if I do my math correctly, we have 3,179 words to go. I think I can do it. I'm almost at 2,000 for the day. Like, what? So far, we're doing all right. I don't want to jinx it, but we're doing all right. So I just finished getting ready. This is the fit, the tote bag I'm about to pack, because I've made the executive decision that the only way I can really get through this challenge is if I also switch up where I'm working. I spent my first 2 sprints sitting at my desk, and now I really want to go to my favorite cafe. I love working there. I love the vibes. It's like small independent coffee shop. They make the best drinks. All of her pastries, I believe, and definitely her cakes are made from scratch. So I love it, and I am always down to support them. I'm gonna pack my bag, grab my purse, and then we're gonna go right in the cafe. I saw some crazy activities on my way here. I witnessed an arrest. I don't know what happened, but this woman, I guess like her and this man got into an altercation, but the man was on the ground. Like he was like sitting down and he looked very out of it. The first responders were checking on him, and then this lady just who's like they're like talking to her, and all of a sudden she runs up on this guy and starts to like try to attack him, and so the police have to like hold her back, but then she starts attacking the police. I've never like witnessed something like that before, so that was interesting. I definitely was concerned for both parties, I will say. So yeah, that was interesting. And then it's so sunny out, so nice, but lo and behold, I crossed the street and it's still sunny. I think I'm driving into like some beautiful weather and it just starts pouring rain. And if these are not the most Floridian series of events, I don't know what is. Truly, the only thing that's missing is a car crash and an alligator crossing the street, actually. Strange activities out here. But I made it, and I'm excited, and I'm gonna go in and get a seat because more people are showing up, and I want my seat. from the cafe. It is now 2:50. I did just take a much longer break than I thought I was going to, but to be fair, I only really took like a 20-ish minute break between sprints at the cafe. I managed to do 2 writing sprints there, which is what I kind of expected of myself. I did anticipate that I would stay there a little bit longer than I did and that I would maybe get like 3 sprints, but honestly, I forgot my headphones. Yeah, and I did realize when I was like on my way to the car, but I was in the car, I was ready to leave, and I was like, okay, I could just get out and go grab it really quick and everything will be fine. Or I could challenge myself to write without my writing playlist. And to be fair, the cafe that I go to typically plays really good music, like similar to the music that I write to, particularly for Project Casino. They're always playing like jazz music, whether it's like instrumental or like with vocals and stuff. So I was pretty confident that I was gonna be okay because it was just like still kind of the vibes of what I was working on. But I didn't factor in that whenever people came into the shop, I would get distracted by their conversations. That really distracted me. I felt like I was not focusing at all on what I was writing, but I still managed to do the 2 sprints like I said. So the first sprint was 40 minutes and the second one I just did 20 minutes because I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel distracted by the voices around me. I'm finding it hard to concentrate, but also I'm at the point where I feel like I don't want to write anymore. I started feeling it before I started my first sprint at the cafe, and definitely by the second sprint, hence why it was only 20 minutes compared to the 40 minutes that I'm usually doing. I'm at my capacity right now. But the thing about a challenge is that you have to push yourself beyond your capacity. And so that is what I have to do because it's almost 3 o'clock and I am not at 5,000 words yet. However, that being said, I feel like I'm actually making really good progress. So let's talk about that really quickly. So for the first sprint, that's sprint number 3 of the day, and I wrote for 40 minutes and I wrote 874 words. And then for sprint number 4, which was the second sprint I did at the cafe, was just 20 minutes and I managed to get 409 words, which I guess makes sense because I did half the amount of time and I almost, was pretty close, I suppose. Almost close enough to doing half of what I would have done in 40 minutes. So this is fun. Now I know why people keep track of their word count because this is really like gamifying writing for me. And I think when you're working on a first draft, you need to allow yourself to do that. Like you need to find ways to make showing up to the page just way more interesting and like motivating yourself to finish writing a first draft because this is hard, okay? If you've ever written a first draft of a book, like this is the most difficult part of the stage, I think, for a lot of writers. And I know particularly for me, as someone who definitely prefers revisions, although I will say writing this, I am very nervous about revision. Like already I know that the second draft of this book is going to have to be like a complete rewrite. Y'all were crooked that entire clip, I apologize. Now, I will say I still feel like the structure of the story is probably gonna remain the same because I did put a lot of thought into my outline, but when it comes to the voice of the story and it comes to just all the lines, I definitely feel like it requires a full rewrite. Isn't writing so fun? Isn't it just so fun? It's so much work and it's so fun. But like, I do love it. I honestly do. It's just thinking about how much work is ahead of me for this book is very daunting. There's still a lot of things I need to hash out. And after this 5,000 word day, I'm probably gonna take like a few days to really focus in on organizing my ideas for the world building and making a lot more decisions about that. Just like right out the gate so that I'm not too all over the place, I guess, when it comes to the things I'm writing in the first draft. I think going into my first draft having some clear rules will help me, and of course like I can break the rules, but as long as I have something to guide my steps, I think that's gonna help a lot. Let's go back to my stats for a second. If I look at my document, my Scrivener document, I am at 3,104 words. Means if we do the math, wait a second, hold on.
Wait a minute.
I only have 1,896 words left until I hit 5,000. Like I need to double check that that's even correct. Oh my gosh, this changes everything that I was about to complain about. Guys, wait, that's so exciting. Oh my gosh, okay. What I was going to tell you is that I really don't want to keep writing right now. I need a longer break. Also, fun fact about me and my writing process is I do write very well first thing in the morning when the world is a little bit quieter. And I do also write pretty well in the evenings, especially for, I feel like, drafting and for a book like this where it's like the atmosphere is a little bit darker, like the tone of the story is a little bit darker, more mysterious, and even the events of what I'm about to write takes place in the evening. So I definitely think that a night writing session is in the cards for me. I'm gonna stop yapping now and I'm gonna either read or play The Sims. And I'll be honest, it feels more like I'm about to play The Sims. I think I just need to like let my brain be for a little bit. I will check back in with you guys later when I need to finish this last 1,800 words and then I'm at 5K for the day. I cannot believe this is happening. Okay, I have showered and I'm actually back in my pajamas and I'm about to make dinner. Emergency noodles with some chicken, some broccoli. While dinner is cooking, I'm gonna try to get a few words in. It's probably gonna be like a really short writing session. Even though I only have 1,800 words left, that's still 1,800 words. And last night I worked for an hour and 30 minutes. I was on Evelyn's stream. I didn't manage to get 1,000 words. So I'm starting to get a little scared that I've kind of screwed myself over. So I'm trying to fit in some writing while I'm cooking. And then tonight I'm gonna have another final session. Okay, unfortunately, my laptop is about to die. So I am saving my work. This is not necessarily going the way that I thought it was, but that's okay. I wrote for about 15 minutes. I'm just gonna document that really quickly. Yeah, I wrote for like about 15 minutes, I think. It might have been more like 20, but I'm not sure. Okay, so before we were at 3,104 words. Now we are at 3,503 words. So in that like 15 or so minutes, I wrote 399 words, which means that we only have, okay, we have 1,497 words. And I just realized that you have been hearing my laundry go off this entire time. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna plug my laptop in and charge it so that it's ready for the next session. So I only have 1,497 words left. It is now just after 7:30 and I am sitting down to do my final sprints and hopefully write just over 1,400 words. I have my tea and we are just gonna get right into writing because I'm nervous that if I wait too long, I'm gonna feel even more unmotivated. So yeah, let's just get right to it. We just finished my first writing session of the evening. It was a 40-minute sprint. Guys, okay, I know it's not perfect and like it's definitely like it's pretty rough. Okay, first draft, it's called the crappy first draft for a reason. And if I'm being completely honest, this is not my best writing. However, the story is vomiting onto the page, and that's really what we want. You know, I have an outline, I'm working with it. This is basically just translating the outline into a story format. You catch my drift? And there's definitely stuff in here I think I will use, and I like kind of like the flow of this particular chapter. I'm currently in the story beat that I'm on is Fun and Games 2, but this is chapter 9, and again, like this is the part of the book I've been the most excited to write because it's like the complete premise of the story, and so I'm having a lot of fun just showing the reader around. And the protagonist and their fellow contestants are also being shown around. This one character in particular just completely appeared on the page for me, and they're definitely a mix of two other characters that I've like read about and seen. One day I probably will talk about this and reveal that, but I'm trying to keep it under wraps right now. But this is like a very fun character to write. I've never written a character like this before and I'm honestly having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. Again, it's like not the best, but I like kind of seeing my outline in a scene, and I know that I can obviously go back and I will be editing all of this later. Okay, stats. I wrote for 40 minutes that session and I managed to get in about 824 words, which I'm noticing is typically what I get when I write for 40 minutes. Like first session, probably not so much because I'm like trying to like get my way into it. But once I'm in it, I feel like I can hit about 800 words in 40 minutes, which is great. And I'm currently sitting at 4,327 words for the day, which means, guys, if we again do math with my calculator, that means I only have 673 words left. And I'm gonna do it because if I can write 824 words in 40 minutes, I think I can write 673 words in 40 minutes. I am about to take a quick break though, just to like move my body, walk around, stretch. But I really like where this is going. I think I'm about to finish out this chapter. These words are definitely going to be carrying over into a new chapter, which that's the only thing I'm nervous about, is that it might take me a little bit to get started on the new chapter. But good news is I'm almost done and it is only 8:30 and my writing playlist is fire. Not to like toot my own horn here or anything, but I feel like I'm really good at making playlists, especially for something like for a specific event or theme. And I've always come up with like pretty distinct playlists for my writing projects, and like I can definitely feel the book through those specific playlists. But this one, I have outdone myself. I really have, because why is this so perfect? It's so perfect in every way. It's weird, it's jazzy, there's a lot of like Dean Martin, there's a lot of Etta James, Olivia Dean, La La Land soundtrack. It fits the book super well. However, I will say the one song that I think is definitely gonna be on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year, it's between two of them, and it's like there's always one writing song from my writing playlist that ends up in my Spotify Wrapped, and I have a feeling it's either going to be You're Nobody Till Somebody Loves You by Dean Martin, but the other one is Endo's Game, which is a song from the Marty Supreme soundtrack. And if you've listened to the Marty Supreme soundtrack at all, like if any of you are interested in that, it is very odd and very fun and very strange, and Endo's Game is like the perfect song for this. Like I swear if that one ends up on my Spotify Wrapped, that's gonna be so funny to me. Low-key embarrassed, but also like I love it. I need to stand up and stretch and walk around. So I have about 15 minutes left of my sprint, and I was writing, was getting a little bit into it. Actually what I was doing is I pulled up stuff from my zero draft, because I'm at the point in the chapter where some of the stuff that I had written previously is coming into play here, and I'm pulling some of what I wrote and just adding it into the chapter. But I paused mid-sentence. I was like, I have been writing for almost a full 40 minutes. I only have 15 minutes left. Let me just double check what my word count is. Guess what my word count is? Yeah, do you see that? Do you see that? Do we see that number? I just hit 5,000 words. I wrote 5,000 words in a day. I can't actually say that I've ever done that before. I must have when I was younger. Honestly, when I was writing The Winds of Destiny through high school, I definitely had like 6,000 to 8,000 word days sometimes. Same when I was writing the sequel, and same when I was working on another fantasy project during college. Like, I definitely have had large number days before, but this is the first time I've ever done something like this as an adult, like as a full adult. It's pretty crazy. I will say, I feel like I have a lot to say and reflect on about this challenge, and I'm definitely not going to get into it right now because I'm tired and I am past the point of having articulate thoughts. I'm just feeling really motivated. I'm feeling really inspired, and yeah, I'll save my other reflections for a different clip because I'm going to be just completely incoherent right now, but I did it. We wrote 5,000 words. Insane. Absolutely insane.
3 days later.
I just made myself the most perfect latte, like, and it tastes just as good too. But yes, it is a few days later since I finished my 5K Friday challenge, and I'm sitting down right now to just film the outro of this video. But before we get to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of my reflections and just go over the things that I learned when doing this challenge. The first and biggest thing I think that I learned, and this is something that I'm continually learning, it's how to push my inner editor slash perfectionist aside and just right. And I think that was like, honestly, what I knew was going to be the case, was going to be the hardest part of this challenge, was just like knowing that I needed to meet a certain word count that day, and that the words I was going to write probably weren't going to be my best words because I was trying to reach a specific word count goal. There were moments when I did feel a little bit discouraged about what I was writing, just like knowing that the words I was writing were not perfect and like things weren't coming out necessarily the way that I envisioned them. But I think I did a really good job just mentally throughout this challenge of just like reminding myself that, okay, like this is a first draft and you're also doing a challenge right now just to see how much you can actually write in a day. You're pushing yourself, like the words you write are not going to be perfect, and that's okay. And you will have an opportunity to go back and edit them later. And I think I did a really good job just like in my mental space just remembering that throughout the challenge and reminding myself of those truths. I was really proud that I was able to kind of push past everything that I felt was wrong with what I was writing and just trust the process. The second thing that I learned was how to push through even when you feel like you're done writing for the day. There are times throughout my day where I just kind of feel tapped out from writing. Like I'll either have met my word count goal, or I've, met my time goal for the day, or my brain just kind of feels like, okay, you're running a little bit out of steam. You're running out of just that motivation to write. And something that I think I learned in this challenge is to push past that feeling and to see what happens. That really came to light near the end of the challenge when it was the evening and I was writing the last like few hundred words or so of the challenge. I really felt myself just get sucked into the story in a different way than I had before. And again, even though my words were terrible, I was really proud of myself for pushing through just like that feeling, because a lot of the time I feel like that feeling isn't necessarily true. Like I think that for me at least, like I'm not on deadline as a writer and I'm currently unemployed, and this is what I do every day is I write and I create these videos for you guys. So I feel like I don't really have an excuse sometimes to just like stop writing when I do. I do think sometimes I tap out simply because I don't want to experience the discomfort of having to push my limits and having to like push through those feelings and just continue writing, knowing that like some of the writing isn't going to be the best. And I think this challenge really taught me just like how to motivate myself to do that and how to write when I really didn't want to, because I do think that is a skill and a practice that is going to be very necessary when I do have deadlines with like an agent or an editor or a publisher. Like having that skill to know when, okay, this is a day when I need to push through those feelings and just get things on the page, or is this a day when I need to preserve my creative energy? And so I think that this challenge really made me consider that a lot more and showed me that you know, I'm capable of doing a lot more in a day than I thought. The third thing that I learned through this challenge is how much time I actually have during the day to write. There are windows within the day when you can actually get writing done. And I think one of the biggest times that I need to start utilizing more in my life is literally while I'm cooking dinner. I don't know about you, but so many of the meals I make either go straight into the oven for 30 minutes or so, or they go into the air fryer for 30 minutes or so. And when I have days when I'm cooking meals that don't require just like a lot of involvement from me while it's cooking, I feel like that is the perfect time to get some writing done. And so I think moving forward, something I'm gonna try to do to just get in another mini sprint throughout the day or a couple sprints throughout the day is to just write while I'm cooking instead of, you know, scrolling or watching a YouTube video. The fourth and final thing that I learned during this challenge has more to do with just like my actual writing process and how I work as a writer. And I think it's safe to say, I do definitely think that writing in the evening and having that evening session when it's dark out, I can have my warm, cozy lights on. I do think that having those evening writing sessions actually is very helpful for me. And I think that that's something I might try to do even more moving forward is, you know, have my morning session or daytime session. And really it's just getting up earlier. Like I think having that time to myself very early is also very helpful and just helps me stay focused and in the zone. And so like those are definitely things I think I'm going to be integrating more into my routine because I think that's just the best way that I write my stories is in darkness. If you made it to the end of this video, please, please, please leave a green heart in the comments or leave a question. I love interacting with you guys. That's really like my favorite part of making these videos. And I always look forward to answering your questions, which I will say also do give me a lot of ideas for future videos. So if you do have anything you want to ask me or any kind of encouragement you want to, you know, either send to me or to other writers, please feel free to engage in the comments. I would love to chat with you guys. Anyways, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.